Good day. Today we're going to talk about what a bunch of 20-year-olds can teach you about trying new things in your organization. Good day. My name is Matthew Ewell from Leading with Nice, where we want to help you inspire others, build loyalty, and get results. Now, for some of you, this might be very interesting, this next part, because we're going to talk about baseball. For those of you who aren't into baseball, trust me, it's going to be some good learning. So, in Major League Baseball, there's a bunch of different levels you would move up to eventually arrive in the major leagues. One of the first ones is A ball. And typically, these players are 18, 19, 20, 21, a few 22-year-olds, but basically they're very young. And there's three things they're trying out in A ball this year that they're using to experiment to see if it eventually might be used one day in Major League Baseball. And the three changes are this. The first is they're experimenting with a rule where pitchers will have to step off the mound before they throw the ball over to first base to try to get a player out who is leading off. Right now, you can just throw it over while you're still on the mound. The next is they're going to be working with a pitch clock. So kind of like a shot clock in basketball where you only have so many seconds, or the play clock in NFL football, where you only have so many seconds to pitch the ball. And they're also going to be experimenting with a robotic umpire. So basically using technology to determine if a ball pitched is a ball or a strike and not an actual human being. Now, I want to focus on the last one, especially, and how does this relate to your organization? So they're only asking really one question with that last one. They're only asking, is this robotic umpire, this technology where it'll measure whether a ball pitched is a ball or a strike, is it accurate more often than a human being? They're not asking all the other questions like, will fans like it? Will it actually result in a less emotional game? They're only asking, does it work? And how does this relate to your company? So my question to you is, how are you testing new ideas in your organization? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this today. Because this past week and this past month, I've been in a few conversations where I've heard new ideas totally shot down because there wasn't a great way to test them or even see if it was valuable. And I've seen some other organizations implement new ideas without a chance to test them, and potentially it could cost a lot of money and fail. So, let's say, for example, you are a restaurant or a pub and you want to try out a new menu item. Well, let me tell you how McDonald's did this back in the 90s. McDonald's in the 1990s here in Canada actually tested delivery. They tested it in Kingston, Ontario. And the only reason I know this is because I was actually an employee, a part-time worker at McDonald's, and I remember our general manager had brought some delivery bags that they were using in Kingston to show our manager in Toronto at our restaurant, and I asked him what was going on, and he told me. Now, eventually, it did not take on. They did not offer delivery through McDonald's in Ontario in the 90s. However, one of the things that did come out of that experiment was McDonald's pizza, right? So if you remember McDonald's pizza, it was amazing. I miss it greatly. I would easily trade the McRib or the Shamrock Shake for pizza coming back to McDonald's. But what they discovered is just by testing it in a small market, they were able to see, oh, what worked, what didn't. And then also they were able to find out, well, this main thing didn't work, but we discovered something else. So if you're at your organization, what mechanisms, where can you test something in a way that will not necessarily implement it all at once, and also allow you to even try it and not be afraid to try a new thing at all? So, for example, maybe it's one day a week we're going to try this new thing. Maybe it's the way you do meetings. Maybe with a department, you're going to try new office hours. Or maybe with only 10% of visitors, we're going to introduce a new website. And you're going to use technology to show only visitors with an IP address that is in a certain geographical location even. You're going to try showing them that. The point is, I want to challenge you and ask you, how are you testing and trying new things in a way that, one, allows you to even do it, and two, prevents you from implementing it on a wide scale and not having great data to back up if it'll even work, and thus saving you from potentially wasting a lot of money. So a few things to ask yourself: how do we implement these tests in a small and specific way? How do we do it where it's low risk enough that we're not impacting the entire organization potentially in a negative way? So for example, with baseball, I can't even tell you if I've ever seen an A-ball game. Surely it's not on television. So Major League Baseball didn't say, oh, here in the major leagues, we're going to implement the robotic umpire. They did not do that. They're testing it to see if it even works. So for example, for yourself with that same philosophy, maybe you want to test if this new website is even functional. Forget if it's testing, if it's making our users go through the process and the funnel we're hoping to make them go through. Maybe you just want to see, oh, this new user interface, does it even make sense to users? Can they figure it out? And then we'll worry about, like, is it converting the way we want it to, right? So for more on this topic, of course, visit our website, leadingwithnice.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you about how you're doing this and how you might be able to do it at your organization. For more, again, visit our website, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.